What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. I am your host, Jay Nixon. Today's episode will be most likely the most disruptive, hopefully inspirational, and hopefully transformational episode that I have ever done. I believe this is going to be episode 159. Out of 159 episodes, I don't know that I've ever talked about this. I don't know that I'll talk about it again, but I can tell you I'm at a place where I know you need to hear this. And if you've got kids in the car, earmuff them, because it's time for you to wake the fuck up. And I mean that with the utmost respect, love, compassion, and empathy. But you have got to wake up. You have got to stop sleepwalking through this life. You have got to start being disruptive. You've got to start being inspired and inspirational. You've got to start transforming, and you've got to become transformational with everything that you do. Listen to me. When the majority of people, the mass majority of people, are chronically ill, depressed, overweight, or obese, on more prescription medications than you can shake a stick at, not living a fulfilled, flourishing life, looking for the next handout, looking for the next giveaway, maybe it's time you stop doing what most people are doing. Agreed? Maybe it's time you start thinking differently. Maybe it's time you start speaking differently. Maybe it's time you start acting differently. I just said maybe there, and maybe is the most bullshit word that I've ever said in that sentence, because it's not maybe, it's a must. You must start thinking differently, guys. You must start acting differently. When the majority of people, listen to me, when the majority of people are sick, when the majority of people are overweight and obese, when the majority of our society is depressed and sad and overwhelmed, it is time to shift. And we as humans, we always want somebody to either come shift for us, or we want somebody else to shift and then we'll follow suit. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to make the decision that you're tired of living this average majority life. It's time to be disruptive in the way you think. It's time to be disruptive in the way you speak, and it's time to be disruptive in the way you behave. I'm not talking about being louder than the mob or the herd. I'm not talking about being crazier than the mob or the herd, more reckless than the mob or the herd. I am talking about you thinking for yourself, you speaking for yourself, you acting for yourself. I am watching, listening, and observing more nonsense than I have ever observed in my entire 46 and a half, more than a half years on this planet. And it has got to come to a screeching halt, or we are headed toward doom. And I am not a doom and gloom guy. I'm going to be dead honest with you right now. I'm going to fucking win. I am not going to succumb to the nonsense. I am not going to fall into the herd. I am not going to be a piece of the puzzle. And I would hope that you don't want to be either. You will not get personal or societal change by following the herd. We will not get back to a better place by following the herd. I said it above. The herd is sick. The herd is sad. The herd is depressed. The herd is overwhelmed. The herd is overweight, obese. The herd is walking a slow path to slaughter. That's the truth. You don't want to hear that, do you? That just made you cringe when I said that. The herd, the average, the majority is walking a slow path to slaughter. Why would you be on that path? Why would you keep walking with that herd? Do you not see it? When the majority of people, guys, are living an unfulfilled life, why in God's name would you follow that path? If you believe in anything bigger than yourself, if you believe in God, the universe, anything bigger than yourself, you have to understand and you have to know you were not born to be sick, depressed, sad, overweight, obese, chronically ill. And you damn sure weren't born to be led to slaughter by following the masses and following the herd. You were born for more. You were born for greatness. You were born to live a life of abundance. And it's time to wake up. You cannot keep doing the same shit. We cannot keep having the same conversations and expecting a different outcome. You are going to have to get radical. And I'm not talking about radical in the form of mob mentality. I'm not talking about radical and going on Facebook and talking shit. I'm so sick of that fucking shit I could puke. Those are not the people you need to be following. Those are not the voices you need to be listening to. I could care less what side of the fence you're on. It's time to tear that fucking fence down. That's part of the problem, is you think it's us against them or them against us or you against somebody else. This is your life you're dealing with here. And you want to get petty and bullshit into bullshit arguments about nonsense, about somebody in a house in Washington, D.C. who doesn't give a fiddler's fuck about you, does not care who you are, does not care what you do, does not care about your safety, your sanity, the fact that you're overweight, the fact that you're sad, the fact that you're depressed, does not care, will not care. The next person in there will not care. The next person after that will not care. Nobody is here to save us. Nobody is going to be elected into that position to save you. Nobody is going to be elected into that position to help you. You have to start understanding this. Get out of line. And I don't mean that in a radical way. I mean that in the most peaceful, sane way possible. I am not in that fucking line, and my life is amazing. My life is gorgeous. I am not stressed out. I am not chronically ill. I am not depressed. I am not overweight. I am not obese. I am not sad. What I am is pissed off because I'm sick of watching you walk to the path of slaughter when you don't have to. You're making a personal decision because maybe you feel like it's safer to be part of the herd. I can tell you it's not. Here's a few things you've got to stop doing immediately. And some of you guys are going to resist this so radically because this is your form of entertainment. This is your form of research. You've got to stop watching that television. And you've got to stop reading the nonsense on the internet from the news. The news is propaganda, satire from either side. I don't give a shit. Like I said, what side you're on. If you're pro this, anti that, maybe you're not even anti anything. You just don't give a shit. Maybe it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the channel is. You're being fed propaganda to keep you scared. Scared people are easy to control. Scared people are sick. Scared people are depressed. Scared people are overweight and obese. The next thing you got to do is you got to stop living a fake life. I'm watching some of you guys live a fake life through this unfortunate thing that we were gifted and then we turned it into a dumpster fire. Social media, right? We were gifted this thing that connected us and brought us together. And it was like, oh my God, you could share pictures and like, hey, remember me? Like we went to third grade together. Like, oh shit, like look at you. Oh my God, you got 2 kids. So now it is nothing but a damn dumpster fire of people talking shit about somebody else. It's the most drama-filled, nonsensical place on the planet and is doing nothing but dividing us. and you're part of that issue. You're living a fake life on social media. I'm watching some of you guys. I even called some of you guys out the other day on it because you're telling me this one story, and then I'm watching you post on social media how badass and awesome, and you got to do this, and you got to crush, and you got to grind, and you got to whatever, but you're sending me these private messages that your life is in the shit tank. You got to pick. I don't want your life to be in the shit tank, but you can't be living that double life, because that's going to do nothing but harm you, because you don't even know who the fuck you are. And you're putting out some bullshit. So now you're confused as to even who you are. The next thing you got to do is stop living in fear. You weren't born to be afraid. You weren't born afraid. You weren't born scared. You weren't born in any of these things you're dealing with right now. It's not the way things were supposed to be. You were caught up in a conditioning factor. You are caught up in this wheel of propaganda that is keeping you terrified of everything. And you've got to get out of it. You've got to stop fighting with each other. You've got to stop talking shit about each other. It doesn't matter if you disagree on anything. It doesn't matter, guys. If you can disagree about things and not be so radically gross to each other. That's got to stop. You can't be that way and not be sick. You can't be that way and be happy. You can't be that way and not be depressed. We are living in a time of the greatest level of depression, disease, chronic illness, overweightness, obesity. Chronic sadness is what it is. We're living in that time. I don't want to be a part of that. I refuse to be a part of that. And there's options. There really is. There's options. You don't think there's options because you're being told there's not options. You're being told you're going to die if you go outside. You're being told all of this stuff about the world. And is it jacked up out there? Yes. But you got to stop getting your information strictly from CNN and NBC and ABC and Fox and all of these other, I don't even know what stations are on anymore. You got to stop succumbing to this life of, I'm going to tell you today what the biggest thing you need to be afraid of is. When's the last time you woke up not scared? When's the last time you woke up and you weren't scared? You didn't have a little bit of fear inside of you about something. You remember 10 years ago, were you afraid to go outside? Were you afraid to go to the grocery store? Were you afraid to shake somebody's hand? Now you are. Now you have to think twice before you even go to the grocery store. If you watch the news, you're terrified of everything. You're probably going out and stockpiling MREs and all kinds of other shit again, because they've got you thinking we're going to go into another, it's going to be World War III. Can you see how you're being programmed to be sick, to be ill, to be depressed, to be sad, to be overweight? Can you see that? Let me ask you a question. It's been going on for over a year. We have left the time, we have not left, we are in the time of our lives when they have told you that one of the leading causes of death related to the current situation is obesity. If you have type 2 diabetes, if you're unhealthy, if you're overweight, blah, 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 right? You would think that the information that you would be given by the people who supposedly care about you would be all about you getting your ass healthy. When's the last time you heard anything about that? When's the last time somebody came on the television and told you, hey, put that burger down and get your ass outside and start walking? When's the last time somebody came on and said, listen, if you lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds, it would increase the likelihood of you having a severe reaction, not to just this, but to any disease state. When's the last time somebody came on and told you that? When? I don't watch the news. I'd really like to know. Post below, please. My guess is never. When's the last time somebody came on and said, listen, get your vitamin D levels tested now? We are noticing a drastic similarity in everyone who is hospitalized based on the current situation. Their vitamin D levels are non-existent. Go get your vitamin D levels checked. And if they're low, guess what? You can get a $15 sublingual 5,000 milligram vitamin E from Amazon. Start taking it every single day, and it'll boost your vitamin D up. And guess what? Vitamin D is just freaking amazing anyway. Just helps you live a healthier, happier, more robust life anytime for the beginning of time. When's the last time somebody told you that? Somebody who cared about you, right? The people that are telling you what to do right now. When's the last time they came out and told you, that gave you that piece of information? Wouldn't you think that we have to have listen to me. This is how disconnected I am from the news. I'm certain there's got to be a lady or a guy or a combination of people that is in charge of disseminating information to you that says, hey, this would be a good idea. This would be a good idea. You should do this publicly to everybody, right? So all 350 billion people, how many people in the United States, something like that? So that we were all like, hi, that's a pretty damn good idea. Let's do that. What if we just did that? Wouldn't that be kick-ass? Who's giving you that info? Nobody. Uncle JJ, right? People like me, I'm the one giving it to you. That's sad to me, right? That's what the television should be used for. Giving you information that is going to help you, not scare you, not scare the shit out of you. I am luckily just not a person who succumbs to fear, right? I don't know why. I'm just that lucky. I usually look at fear and it pisses me off, and I usually go the other way. Don't know why, just who I am. I got lucky. But I'm here to tell you that you don't need to be living in fear anymore. You've got to move away from this and just start asking the right people the right questions. And stop saying, the next person that tells me, and I asked them a question, and they said, well, no, I did my research. And I said, where'd you do your research? Well, I watched CNN. You did not do any damn research. You got fed some propaganda, something somebody else wanted to tell you. There are ways to do your research about anything and everything on the planet, from the vitamin D I just talked about. Do not take my word for it, ever. You go research it. Look it up. Look it up. Look up what a positive ratio of vitamin D in your blood will do for your life, period. Look it up. I guarantee you, after you look it up, you're going to order some vitamin D, and you're going to take it for the rest of your life. I reviewed 10 people's blood work last week. Every single one of them was low on vitamin D. Every single one of them. You probably are too. And it's a simple yet robust solution. So you got to start asking why, guys. Why are the simplest things not being provided to me? Why is the place where I could gather the most information from seemingly the best people on the planet who had my best interest at heart, why is it not giving me simple solutions to my life? Not just to the current scenario and situation, but like just to my life in general. To say, hey, Jay, if you did these 5 simple things, if you lost 10 to 50 pounds, I know 50 pounds sounds radical, but there's a lot, if we're as obese as I know we are, we need to be losing 10, 30, 40, 50, some of you guys 70, 80, 100 pounds, and your life would change drastically. But it will not change if you continue to do the same things that you're doing. If you continue living in the fear that you're living in, you won't be healthy. You'll actually get more unhealthy. You're like, the more depressed you are, the sadder you are, the higher likelihood that you're going to contract some form of chronic illness and some form of a disease. It's just the truth. It's just the bottom line. So what if you did some things, some simple things that made radical shifts in your life? You got a little bit healthier. I'm not talking about bodybuilder, fitness model, Instagram, healthy. I'm talking about just healthy. Not having that gut, not shoving your face full of processed high sugar foods, taking the right supplements that are just going to naturally boost your God-given immunity, which is amazing if you take care of it. Those things, instead of disseminating fear and making you scared to death. So the reason I wanted to do this podcast is I just want to wake you up. Some of you I pissed off. I'm okay with that, because my hope is that once you get over being pissed off, that you realize and you understand that I'm coming from a place of wanting you to win. I'm coming from a place of wanting you to be happier and healthier and living a more vibrant, robust, abundant life. I'm actually sick of seeing you being sick. I'm actually tired of watching you be tired. It breaks my heart to look at the current state of where we are with our health. That's what breaks my heart. That's what makes me sad. So once you get over being pissed off about what I had to say today, listen again and listen to it from the perspective of knowing that I'm coming from a place of simply wanting you to win. And I could care less what your political stance is. I could care less what your stance on the current thing is. I don't care. What I care about is you as a human being. And that's what we've gotten so far away from. We no longer identify as human. Think about that for a second. We no longer identify as human beings. We identify as all of these radical things that mean if I'm this, then I must hate you for being that, and vice versa. We're all the same, guys. Internally, we're all the freaking same. But yet we're treating each other like we're radically different. We're treating each other with this venom and hate that is making us sicker, that is making us more depressed, that, believe it or not, is actually creating the chronic illnesses that you're suffering from today or that you will suffer from soon in the future. So today's all about just a wake-up call. I needed to disrupt you a little bit today. I needed you to hopefully get a little bit more inspired to live your life today and get out of the line. You don't need to be led to slaughter. And what I mean by that is, if you continue down this path of unhappiness, if you continue down this path of extreme sadness and overwhelm and depression and obesity and weight gain, your life's not going to be what it was designed to be. You weren't born. God did not create you to be sad. You're the greatest creature on the planet, and you've got the ability to overcome and endure more than you could ever imagine. But you've been told differently. You've been told differently by people who don't have your best interest at heart. And somehow they've convinced you that if you'll just shut your mouth and do what I tell you to do, shut up and do what you're told, right? This isn't grade school anymore. You don't have to raise your hand to go take a pee-pee, but that's what you're doing now. You deserve to be happy, and you get to make that decision for yourself. And then on the flip side of that, other people get to make that decisions for themselves. And you can't hate them for that. The venom between humans right now is the most dangerous thing that we're facing. Our behavior to each other is the most dangerous thing we're facing right now. And if you just slowed down and took a couple of deep breaths and realized, I don't know much about it. I don't know much about all of this shit that's going around, right? I don't know much about it. Like most of the things that I think I know, I've been told by someone else. Isn't that the truth? Most of the things you think you know, you've been told by someone else, and you had to make a decision on whether or not you wanted to believe it or not. And then you're mad at somebody else who was told by someone else what they made the decision that they were going to believe. So you've really got two uninformed people pissed off at each other. And if those two people just stopped and unpacked their nonsense and looked at each other as the humans that we are, and loved each other as the humans that we are, how radically different would just your small world, your small little ecosystem, how would that look? And then how would that expand to the next level of your ecosystem, and the next level, and the next level? Wouldn't that make the world as you know it, the world that you're living in, a much more amazing place? Less chronically ill, less depressed, less sad, less overwhelmed. If it was happiness and love and respect, wouldn't that be, holy shit, wouldn't that in and of itself change the game? I'm going to say something right now that is 100% strictly my opinion. You can like it, love it, leave it, whatever you want to do with it. The stress that we are under right now, listen to me, the stress that we are under, that we are creating, that we are allowing to be created for us by falling in line and listening to the fear mongering, is way more dangerous than any virus, than any conflict, than any scenario, than any situation. That's what's going to get you. Right? That the stress. Most of you, when's the last time you woke up not stressed? Not sustainable, guys. It is 100% not sustainable. You got to make a decision. How am I going to get unstressed? I gave you some suggestions and tips today. You can follow them. You can not follow them. But I promise you one thing. You can't continue living like you're living. You can't continue hating like you're hating. Even if you're hating quietly. Some of you are hating quietly. Some of you are judging quietly. Some of you you're not going on social media and blasting everybody, but you still have the venom, right? With maybe you and your circle. You got to stop that too. Like, what if you and your circle decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to trade our venom for love. And even if we disagree with a big giant group of people, you know what we're going to do? We're going to love them. We're going to wish the best for them, regardless if they don't think how we think. That's the part of living where we get to live. We don't have to think like each other. We don't have to do what each other do. We don't have to believe what each other believe. That's the beauty of where we live. It's the beauty of where we get to live, guys. Could obviously go on and on. I hope you're woken up a little bit. I hope you're shaking a little bit. Like I said, I'm okay if you're even a little bit mad at me right now. But I want you to listen to these last words I'm going to say before we go. Everything I said today was because I care about you as a human being. I want you to win as a human being. I have no animosity or ill will toward anyone. That's a factual, true statement. There's no one that in my life that I have any animosity towards. Can you say the same thing? I wake up every morning. I'm not stressed out. Can you say the same thing? I want that for you. All right. I love you. I'll be back next week with another episode. Let's be better, guys. All right. Let's love each other. Bye.